What up, bros? Modz here today. I'm super excited to bring you guys this new T6 Fire Flash Monk build. It's revolving about the new redesigned remnant set that was introduced in patch 2.2, or better known as the season 3 patch. So before we get into the build overview, you know, going over the Paragon points, allocation, going over skills that you're going to be using, going over gear selection, alternative gear selection, let's look at this new redesigned remnant set and let's see what it does. So the 2-set bonus basically for this remnant set, when you attack, like with your generators, their attack speed is going to be increased by 25% and their damage is going to be increased by 300%. With this build though, we're not going to be really using our auto attacks for our damage output. It's going to be coming from dashing strike, but it does help. More damage is more damage, so you can't really complain about that. The 4-set bonus, your dashing strike is now going to, instead of eating your charges, it's going to take 75 spirit. But you have to be kind of careful with this, because if you basically spend all of your spirit, you're going to start eating your dashes. And then if you eat into your dashes, you could potentially die. So basically be conscious of your resource pool and make sure not to overspend. When you get too low, you're going to start eating your charges. When you eat into all your charges, you're just going to basically be a sitting duck. You're going to be doing no damage, and then you're going to lose your source of regen. So be very careful of that. You know, you do have to micromanage your spirit regen just a little bit, your resource a little bit, and try not to do that. It's going to happen sometimes, but just try not to do it. And the 6-piece bonus, this is the crazy one. So basically, whenever you hit with your auto attack, it's going to increase the damage done by your dashing strike by 12,500%. So we're just going to like punch with our little, our generator, bam, bam, bam. And then our dashing strike is going to glow. When this dashing strike is glowing, big damage mode is engaged. You're ready to basically annihilate every single mob before you, as you'll see in a gameplay video a little bit here in the future. So let's get into the build guide itself now. First thing we're going to go over is Paragon point allocation. With Paragon point allocation, first thing you want to do is take a look at your movement speed. Well, at your boots first, and then see how much movement speed your boots have. And based off that, you basically want to get this value to 25%. So if we just take that out, we got, right now we got 12% movement speed, so we need 13% movement speed, 10, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, bam. So we got 13% movement speed. Max out your spirit next, and then just go into full dexterity. You're really not going to need that much survivability at all for this build. Your survivability is going to be granted by gold. Yeah, I said gold. I'm not lying right now, but really gold. So anyways, that's what you're doing for your Paragon point allocation. Max our movement speed, max spirit, since it is a very resource intensive spec, and the rest are going to be going into dexterity just for boosting your damage. You want as much damage as humanly possible. Now in our offensive tree, it is like a CDR dependent spec, but you don't want to prioritize CDR over crit chance and crit damage. So if you have under 40% crit chance, put your Paragon points in a crit chance first. If you have over 40% crit chance, do crit damage first, then crit chance, cooldown reduction, then attack speed. And then for your defensive Paragon points, this pretty much never changes ever. For almost any monk build, actually. But you're going to be doing all resist, your armor, your life, and then your life for gen. And then in your utility stats, this is actually kind of important. Make sure you do resource cost reduction first. Like I said, very, very, very resource intensive specs. So you want as much resource cost reduction as humanly possible. After resource cost reduction, do area damage, then life on hit, and then gold find, which is actually going to help us. The gold find is actually no joke. All hail Wyatt Chang. It actually is really good here. No joke. Not even trolling. For real talk. For realsies. And now let's go into our skills for the spec. We're using Fist of Thunder Quickening for our generator. The reason why we're using this, even though it is a fire-based spec, so we're going to be using the fire elemental damage type, we will be using Quickening just because the value, or basically how much spirit it gives us per attack. We're not really looking at the damage value too much. We just care about generating more spirit when we're just not dashing. We just want to generate that spirit. Most of your damage is going to be coming from dashing strike, and it'll be using the fire rune, increase attack speed, basically makes you dash quicker, more dashing, more damage. So we're using the fire rune for here. And then for our epiphany, we're using insight. Insight, it has the highest sphere regen value. And since we don't really need defensive stats, like maybe if you're doing greater rifting, you'll be doing desert shroud, and that just reduces your damage taken by 50%. But for this, since we're doing T6, you just want epiphany, and then we'll be getting our toughness from another source. Well, basically from gold wrap into the hoarder combo. So just do epiphany with insight. In addition to that, epiphany also allows you to teleport. So this teleport actually works like pretty crazily. So when you're dashing strike around the map, right? So let's say if there's like a mob in front of you, or like there's like a little gap, and then you just use your epiphany to click on that mob and it'll dash and it won't need your DS charge, and then you can damage it once you get right next to it. So be wary of that. You can actually use your epiphany to teleport over objects and like over like valleys and cradles and a bunch of crazy stuff. Then anyways, Breath of Heavens with Infuse of Light. This is essentially just a spirit generator boost for your Fist of Thunder. When you go to attack, like normally it's like 20 spirit, and then when Breath of Heavens with Infuse of Light is active, it's 14% additional spirit per attack. So we're just using this pretty much strictly for when we stop moving, just to get back to dashing strike as quickly as possible. Mystic Ally, Air Ally, we're using this for passive regen, 4 spirit per second. Then we activate it, we get 100 spirits. So dashing striking, your epiphany's down. You don't want to like auto attack, so you just pop, you know, your little Mystic Eye, and then you get 2 or 3 more dashes off. And then you're going to be using your Mansion Eviction Annihilation. This serves 2 purposes. First purpose, more damage. Second purpose, more movement speed. T6 is all about efficiency. You want to spend more time moving than killing stuff. You just want to be cruising as quickly as possible. That is all you want to do. And now for your passive allocation, you're going to be going with the Beacon of Vitar. Beacon of Vitar will give this much needed cooldown reduction, Vex of Epiphany, our Breath of Heavens, and our Mystic Ally. Basically, more spirit. STI, since it makes his attack quicker, more attacks, we get a dash quicker. Then for this, we'll be using, actually you're not always going to use momentum, you're going to be using fleet-footed. So fleet-footed, more movement speed, the better. And then Exalted Soul, this is where it might deviate. Exalted Soul is really nice because it gives you higher max spirit and also added spirit gen. However, if you're not using like a Hellfire Amulet, then you want to run like momentum just for the flat 20% damage boost. And then you'll be basically regenerating your resource through picking up health globes, which we'll see in a little bit. So that's like one of the alternative. And then if you're playing hardcore, you just like slop out, you know, your Exalted Soul for near death experience. And then if you're super scared on hardcore, you go 6 Sense. And then if you're even more scared on hardcore, you can drop STI and like run Harmony, and that'll just give you like super boosted. Well, it'll give you really boosted stats, but you're not really going to need the toughness on T6. We'll have billions and billions of toughness. You basically have no chance of dying. So anyways, weapon of choice will be the Flying Dragon. What is important on this Flying Dragon is high base damage, like 2923 to or 4253. That is what all your skills are based off of. So like when it says like 370% weapon damage with fire, it takes it from that value. So you want high base damage Flying Dragon. You want a high dex roll, and then next in priority is life or spirit sent for that sustain, and then your socket obviously for your gem. However, if you don't have a Flying Dragon, like I said, Flying Dragon is optimal. Not only are the stats on it good, a Daybos are the only thing that roll life or spirit spent. Another thing that's really nice is chance to double your attack speed, and this allows you to go across the rift so quickly. It's just absolutely insane. You cover entire rift floors in like 20 seconds. But it's all right. If you don't have a Flying Dragon, there are some alternatives. The alternative are some dual-wielding items. You could use like a Sunkeeper. Things that are important on Sunkeeper: high base damage, like I said before, high elite damage. Make sure you got the socket for the crit damage gem. And then also like Crafted Devastator. Crafted Devastators are absolutely amazing. They're easy to get. You just go to your blacksmith after you find the plan. You come here, you're like, oh, where's the mace at? There's a Devastator. The materials are really easy to get, and you craft the Devastator there. And then since Sunkeeper is a little bit rare, if you don't have a Sunkeeper, you can also use the Burning Skinky Butt Axe. And so like between these 2 items, you get like potentially like 40% more fire damage done. Like important things on the Burning Skinky Butt. Make sure you have the average damage that's high, your dex roll, and then your socket for your gem. But ideally, you want that Flying D. If you got the Flying D, you'll be golden. Now, for your chest, you're going to be wanting a Cinder Coat. For your Cinder Coat, basically what you want is high fire skill damage, decent dex roll. Make sure you have dashing strike damage on your chest. If you don't have dashing strike, well, you don't have to have it, but if it is preferable. End game wise, that's what you want. You know, your stacking resist is fine. You're not going to really need the stacking resist. And then you want high resource cost reduction in your fire skill. This is going to affect your dashing strike. So you dash more, dash more, dash more, dash more. So make sure you get that Cinder Coat, and then obviously the triple socket. Now, If you don't have a Cinder Coat, that's fine. You can use a the Raiment Monk set chest, but preferably you want to be using a Cinder Coat because the Cinder Coat allows us to dash a whole lot more, a lot more. So make sure you get that Cinder Coat. But Raiment set will work if you don't have this and you're just like starting to build up your monk. Now, these items are very, very important for this build. Reaper Wraps crafted bracers. These pretty much are not like replaceable. You can run it. You can run a different bracer, but the set won't perform as well. So what you want stat party wise on your Reaper Wraps: crit chance, fire elemental damage, dex, vit. Vit's not so much important. You don't really even need secondary stacking or resist. And then your healing glow bonus. You want the healing glow bonus as close to perfect as possible. But since mine is ancient, I was just looking for the damage as perfect fire elemental damage, perfect crit chance. So I could like slack a little bit on the healing glow bonus. That's gonna be your bracers. And now what we're gonna need now is an Avarice Band. These drop from Act 3 bounty caches. What is really nice about these, it's going to synergize well with our Reaper Wraps, and also our Gold Wrap. So our Gold Wrap, this is where we're getting all of our toughness from. What you want on this thing is just Dex, Vit, light percent, armor, and then like more gold find is better. More gold find equals more toughness, more armor. And then what's going to happen, you gain armor for 5 seconds equal to the gold picked up, which is nice. And this scales extremely well with the Avarice Band because every single time you pick up gold, it increases your gold and health pickup radius. So you're gonna have this huge pickup radius. So you're gonna have like 30 pickup radius. So like when you're running through the map, you're basically gonna be picking up everything in the map. Not only is it one of the big problems with this set originally, when I was testing it, is when I was running around, health globes would just be everywhere. And I would have to like run and find them, so it wasn't efficient. But with this Avarice Band, I literally don't have to stop when I just pick up health globes, and my spirit globe, my resource is just funneled the entire time. I just dash non-stop. So make sure you get this Avarice Band. It drops from Act 3 Heraldric caches. Preferably you want like a Dex, crit chance, crit damage, socket roll. If you don't have, I don't even have a perfect one. I got cooldown reduction. Just make sure you have the crit chance roll on it. You got the crit chance roll, you got the socket, you'll be golden. Preferably on Dex, crit chance, crit damage, socket, but you don't need the perfect item always. And then next thing that's very, very important is Ring of the Royal Grandeur. The Ring of the Royal Grandeur, you just want Dex, you want a socket on it, and then you want like either crit chance or crit damage, and then you don't really need your stacking resist. But the socket is important because we'll be socketing the Boona Hoarder legendary gem in it. So every single time that we kill an enemy, it's going to cause an explosion of gold. When it gets to rank 50, it's going to be 100% chance when you kill an enemy to cause an explosion of gold. I'm using my lower rank one, and I used the lower rank one in the video to show that you don't need a max tier gem. You know, getting rank 50 gems for some players is a little hard. You just basically want like a rank 25 gem. The rank 25 gem will cause the gold explosions, and it'll give you additional movement speed to make you be running quicker. So combined with like your fleet-footed, your Mansion Conviction Annihilation, your max movement speed, you're gonna be cruising around super quick, super fast. So that's what you're gonna want on your ROG with the Boon of the Hoarder. If you don't have an Avarice Band is extreme, like it's basically the best item you can get for this build. Just via the synergy of Gold Wrap and your Reaper Wraps, just basically picking up everything. If you can't get that, some viable alternatives are Bandaroo Chambers, basically generators, could like basically up to 50% more spirit generated. You want your Dex on here, crit chance, crit damage, socket. These are extremely rare, so they're hard to get. So pretty much don't really worry about that, but it is like the best viable, or one of the better viable alternatives. You can also use like a Fire SOJ. Fire SOJ with high fire skill damage, Dex, elite damage, and then your sockets. Sockets are important. Use one of your legendary gems in there. And then if you can't get that, you can use the new Focus Restraint combo. Focus Restraint combo is amazing. Essentially, it's just going to give you 100% damage boost all the time. So when you hit with the generator, when you hit the spender, 50% damage boost each time. And these gems, we'll just put them on real quick. When you go into like the wilderness and you like go punch stuff, it shows on like your bar that the rings are active. See, ring buff, bam, ring buff. So that's how you know your damage is increased. Those are like the viable ring alternatives. And then if you don't have a Gold Wrap, you can use like something like a Witching Hour. Just your Dex, your bit, gives that crit damage. But then by dropping Gold Wrap and like dropping your Boon of the Hoarder gem, you're gonna have to stack. Basically, you're gonna have to stack a bunch of survivability stats, which is not ideal. You just want to be dependent on your gold to give you the survivability. And then also use like a Blackthorn's Belt. Blackthorn's Belt is also decent. Dex bit, life percent armor. And I'll use that with like an amulet also. And then we'll get like this huge set bonus there, like 250 bit, and then the increased damage against elites. Now let's go into the Raiment Monk set. We already went into it. I'm not going to go too heavily into the stat overview here, but there will be a written guide down in the info section. Actually, yeah, but I'm not going to go too heavily into it. So basically on your boots, you just want your dex bit roll, and then you want your movement speed on there preferably. Don't really care too much about the stacking resist because we'll have more than enough toughness provided by our Boon of the Hoarder and everything else. For your pants, basically just dex bit, double socket. Make sure you got your emeralds in there because we just want as much damage as humanly possible. And then like your fourth primary could be armor, could be a whale. It doesn't really matter what it is because it's just going to give you more defensive bonus, but you'd have armor or life percent. Now for your gloves, this is pretty important. Glove stat party breakdown. You definitely want dex on it, crit chance, crit damage, cooldown reduction. And you want max cooldown reduction, and then you want like obviously 8% cooldown reduction is ideal, and then you just want your crit chance, crit damage as close to 50 as possible, like whatever crit damage on it also. And then your secondary stacking, this doesn't really matter for this at all. For your shoulders, you want your dex roll, vit roll, all resist, and then your dashing strike damage on it, 50% DS damage. Dashing strike damage, like they are additive with each other, but they're multiplicative with your skills, so it's a huge damage boost. Now for your helmet, there's really not any alternatives here. Basically, just get your dex roll. Well, you prioritize like crit chance first, then your dex, then your socket. Make sure you have the CDR gem in your helmet. The CDR gem is going to affect your skills that are CDR based. That's super important. And now for your amulet, preferably you want a Hellfire amulet. Hellfire amulet for the new Raymond Monk set is absolutely amazing. It gives you one free passive. So like what we're using Beacon Etar, STI, Fleet-footed, Exalted Soul, and then we got our Hellfire amulet with momentum. You don't have to have momentum on it. You can have like any of these passives on it. But what's important is getting your dex roll, your crit chance roll, your crit damage roll, your socket, and get that good passive on there. And then if you don't have a Hellfire amulet, like I said before, you could use like the Blackthorns combo. You just want dex, crit chance, crit damage, socket on it. If you don't have Blackthorns, any amulet with dex, crit chance, crit damage, socket on it will do absolutely at all. And then that's pretty much it for the gear overview. There's not really any more alternatives besides like, well, that's pretty much it. But anyways, let's go into gems now. What gems we'll be using for this? Bane of the Trapped, it'll pretty much activate itself. Based on your level, it's going to give you a huge damage boost. Like mine's level 63, 33.9 is 0% damage boost. Next thing, Boon of the Hoarder. When you kill an enemy, it's going to call the Explosion of Gold. Then it's going to be a movement speed boost. Efficiency, survivability in combination with your gold wrap belt. And then last but not least is your Bane of the Powerful. This is going to be active pretty much your entire Greater Earth run. As soon as you get into Greater Earth, you'll probably find Elite. You'll get that 20% damage boost, and then also increase your damage to elites, which is going to help you kill down the packs. And you don't want to be one-shotting all the packs. And it's also going to help you kill the Rift Guardian a little bit quicker. Alternatively, to like, let's say like Bane of the Powerful, sometimes people just want more movement speed. Like you are, like if your gear's so good, you're already one-shotting everything. And T6, go with Wraith of Lightning. Wraith of Lightning has like a little ambient, like little mini conduit effect. But what's nice about it, the rank 2 bonus gives you more movement speed, so you're even more efficient. And I know I sound like a broken record when I go, you don't have to worry about toughness with this build because the gold, you don't really have to. Like, so as you're running around, your toughness is just gonna get boosted up. So we're just like zoom around this spot, right? We're just gonna kill mobs, we're gonna get gold. I have almost 1 billion toughness right now. And if you're in like a high density map, like especially like T6 Rift, like this is not gonna drop. You're basically always gonna have your bonus active. But the cool thing is, like, you don't need to kill, like, you don't need to get like 1 billion toughness to like not die. You could literally have like 100 million toughness and you pretty much won't take damage on T6. Let's go to like the little Cryptid Ancients and I'll show you that. And this is basically in combination of the gold wrap set, or the gold wrap unique bonus along with the Boon of the Hoarder. So you just like go in here, right? So like we're gonna take some damage, right? Maybe. Yeah, fine. So we're just gonna grab some gold, right? Like to kill something. So we got like 100 million toughness out. We just killed a couple mobs. Like we're pretty much not going to take damage now. Like I could pretty much stand everything at this point. I'm not going to take damage. So as long as you kill like a mob every 5 seconds and pick up a gold and refresh the stack, you're not going to have to worry about dying. So anyways, let's get into the gameplay of this build. Watch the little gameplay session. You can see it in action. Like I said, I absolutely love this set. It's so efficient. On average, you're gonna be clearing like Greater Earth in under 2 minutes. And then if you get like a GG Rift, like if the stars align, you'll be doing a Great Earth, or not a Great Earth, you'll just be doing a normal T6 Rift in about like 30 seconds to 1 minute, including the Rift Guard and anything. But anyways, off to the gameplay. Let's do this. T6 clear. But as you can see, I'm going through right now. That Barisi ban really hasn't taken effect yet. It's still like getting our pickup radius. As we pick up more gold, we're gonna get like more pickup. They're just trying to get buffed up, and now I'm like getting all my health buff. I don't really have to worry about anything. I'm not gonna take any damage at all. Average band OP. At that point I kind of messed up. I over dashed. That's one thing you don't want to do, and obviously hit my efficiency a little bit. You know, I spent like 4 or 5 seconds there, like not killing anything. Just punching stuff, getting my spirit up. So you see my toughness is at 1.2 billion. Another nice thing about this build is you're not gonna have to worry about pretty much gold ever. Just gonna be a gold finding machine. And legendary. Don't forget the legendaries. At that point we got like 3 billion toughness. Don't take any damage. We're just gonna mow down the Rift Guardian. Anyways, that is the T6 Speed Fire Flash Monk guide. If you guys like the guide, you got vote it. If you have any questions at all, leave some comments down below. If you want some live feedback, you can always visit me on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Modz. Anyways, hope you guys learned something, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the guide. And also, as usual, there'll be a written Diablo fans guide in the info section. So if you just want like something to highlight over and like double check all your gear, there'll be a nice written guide there if the video thing doesn't do it for any. But thank you guys for watching, and have a wonderful freaking day. Modz out.